Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people with modest salaries live these incredibly peaceful lives, while others making seven figures are drowning in debt and stress? Or why a brilliant genius can go bankrupt while an ordinary person builds wealth, brick by brick? See, here's the thing. Money isn't a math problem. It's a psychology problem. In the book The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel reveals that how you behave with your money is way more important than what you actually know about finance. It's not about spreadsheets, interest rates, or economic formulas. It's about how we think, how we feel, and the split-second decisions we make every single day. Some people are rich but feel poor, while others live simply and feel like they have everything. The difference isn't the balance in their bank account, it's their perspective. Through 20 chapters, Housel takes us on a journey into the emotional, psychological, and sometimes totally irrational ways we treat our cash. We're talking about finding enough, the hidden power of saving, the role of luck, and the art of staying wealthy once you get there. When you master the psychology of money, you don't just manage your finances better, you unlock a life that is calmer, freer, and genuinely happier. Now, once we realize that money is more than just digits, we have to look at the first big hurdle: no one's crazy. Have you ever looked at someone's financial choices and just thought, what are they thinking? Maybe it's someone taking out a massive loan for a wedding they can't afford, or someone with a low income betting it all on a high-risk investment hoping to strike it rich. From the outside, we call it crazy. But Housel reminds us, no one is actually crazy. Everyone has a story, and a specific set of experiences that shaped how they see a dollar bill. Imagine two people. One was born in the 1960s, a time of economic boom and cheap housing. The other was born during a brutal recession where jobs were scarce. Do you think they see money the same way? Not a chance. Your view of money isn't built by reading textbooks. It's built by your personal history. If you watched your parents lose everything, you're going to play it safe. If you grew up seeing endless opportunities, you're going to be a risk taker. The problem is, we judge others based on our own map. Whether it's an investor from the Great Depression or a tech worker from the 90s, neither is wrong. They just come from different worlds. The big takeaway? Stop comparing yourself to others. In the world of money, there is no single right way. There's only what makes sense for you. And speaking of how things happen, we have to talk about luck and risk. We love to look at successful people and say, man, they worked so hard. But then there's the guy working 3 jobs who still can't make ends meet. Is it all just hard work? Housel explains that financial success is a mix of effort, luck, and risk. Take Bill Gates, for example. He was lucky enough to attend one of the only high schools in the world that had a computer in 1968. Without that tiny slice of luck, history looks very different. On the flip side, someone else with the same talent might have been hit by a recession or a health crisis, factors totally out of their control. Success isn't a straight line of hard work. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. Think of it like a game of poker. You can play your hand perfectly and still lose because the deck was stacked against you. That's risk. You can play a terrible hand and win because of a lucky draw. That's luck. So focus on what you can control, your effort and your decisions. Success and failure aren't just black and white. They are shaped by these invisible forces moving alongside us. But even when we do succeed, we often hit a wall. Never enough. Have you ever felt like no matter what you have, it's never quite enough? You get the raise, and suddenly your lifestyle gets more expensive. It's a race with no finish line. Housel hits us with a hard truth. The never enough trap is deadly. He tells the story of Rajat Gupta, a billionaire who had everything: money, power, fame. But he wanted more. He risked it all on insider trading and lost his reputation, his freedom, and his legacy. Why? Because he didn't know how to say, I have enough. The key to financial peace is knowing where your finish line is. If you don't, you'll spend your life fueled by envy and greed. Do you really need the bigger house just because the neighbors have one? True wealth isn't about what you have. It's about feeling satisfied with what you have. The person who knows they have enough is always richer, than the person who is never satisfied. To reach that peace, you need to understand the eighth wonder of the world: confounding compounding. We've all heard of the overnight success, but building wealth is actually about being boringly consistent. Take Warren Buffett. People think he's rich because he's a genius stock picker. But his real secret is time. He started investing at 10 years old, and he's still doing it in his 90s. Most of his wealth didn't come from brilliant moves, but from giving compounding 80 years to work its magic. If you invest a small amount and leave it for 40 years, it explodes. The problem is, we're impatient. Building wealth is like growing a tree. You don't see anything for a long time, and then suddenly, it's massive. The key isn't how smart you are. It's how patient you are. Start now, even if it's small. Don't underestimate tiny gains, because given enough time, they turn into something extraordinary. But here's the catch. Getting wealthy is different than staying wealthy. A lot of people can make a fortune, but very few can keep it. Getting rich requires risk and hustle. You have to be brave. But staying rich requires the opposite: humility and a little bit of paranoia. You have to realize that what you have can be taken away. Many entrepreneurs go bust because they got greedy or overconfident. The people who stay wealthy are the ones who are always aware of the risks. They have a margin of safety, and they know when to play it safe. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Getting to the summit takes guts. But getting back down alive, that takes caution. Don't just focus on the get-rich part. Survival is the most important financial strategy there is. And while you're trying to survive, remember that tails win the game. Have you ever felt like a failure because most of your ideas don't work? Well, in business and investing, a few massive wins pay for all the small losses. This is called tail events. Look at Disney. They struggled for years, but one hit, Snow White, saved the company. Look at Amazon. Most of their experiments failed, but AWS was such a massive tail that it made them a titan. Success isn't about being right 100% of the time. You can fail 90% of the time as long as that 10% is a massive home run. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just part of the math. What matters is how much you make when you are actually right. But why do we do all this? Usually, it's for freedom. The highest dividend money pays is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. It's not about buying things, it's about owning your time. What's the point of a six-figure salary if you hate your boss and never see your kids? Time is the only currency you can't earn back. Housel reminds us that control over your time is the highest form of wealth. Freedom is worth more than status or prestige. Being rich isn't about having everything. It's about having the power to choose. Yet, we often fall for the man in the car paradox. We buy fancy stuff to get respect, but the irony is, people aren't looking at us. They're looking at the car, imagining themselves in it. Status symbols are an illusion. If you want real respect, look at your character, not your driveway. Because wealth is actually what you don't see. Wealth is the money not spent. It's the investments growing silently. It's the emergency fund that lets you sleep at night. Someone driving a six-figure car might be wealthy, but all you know for sure is that they have $100,000 less than they did before they bought it. Focus on building assets, not a collection of toys. This brings us to a simple but vital point: save money. Everyone wants a secret hack, but saving is the foundation of everything. It's not about how much you make, it's about the gap between your income and your ego. You don't need a specific reason to save. Saving gives you freedom, resilience, and the ability to take an opportunity when it finally shows up. You don't need to be a financial genius. You just need self-control. And as you manage that money, remember that being reasonable is better than being rational. Financial experts want you to be a math machine. But if paying off your mortgage early makes you feel safe and helps you sleep at night, then that's the reasonable move, even if the math says otherwise. Finance isn't about optimizing every penny, it's about staying in the game without losing your mind. If a decision makes your life more peaceful, it's a good decision. We also have to accept that life is full of surprises. The most important events in history are the ones no one sees coming. Instead of trying to be a psychic, build a life that can handle the unexpected. This is why you need a room for error. No matter how smart your plan is, things will go wrong. Have an emergency fund. Don't max out your credit. Give yourself space to be wrong. Because the people who win are the ones who can survive their own mistakes. You also have to realize that you will change. The person you are today isn't the person you'll be in 10 years. Your goals will evolve. So don't lock yourself into extreme financial plans. Stay flexible. And never forget that in this world, nothing is free. The price of investing is the anxiety of watching the market fall. Once you realize that stress is just the admission fee for growth, you stop looking for shortcuts. You stop being seduced by pessimism. Pessimism always sounds smarter, but history shows that optimism is almost always the better bet for the long term. Just be careful not to believe anything just because you want it to be true. When we're desperate for a shortcut, we become suckers for a good story. So let's put it all together now. Finance isn't about being a math genius. It's about behavior. Morgan Housel ends with a confession. He makes decisions that aren't mathematically perfect but are personally right for his family. And that's okay. At the end of the day, your money is just a tool. It's a tool to build a life that feels good to you, not one that looks good to everyone else. True wealth isn't a number on a screen, it's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're in control of your own time. And honestly, that's the only win that truly matters.